Max, don't you have my slides in there?
Sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry, Val.
Hello, everyone. While
That would
Max
help,
is
wouldn't it?
pulling up the slides. It's good to see, if not your face, your name. It feels like it's been a while since we've met together, so it's great to see you all. We're already ahead of schedule by about 10 minutes. So for those who are joining us from Master Teacher, it looks like both Corey and Andrew are here. So we're ready to go in that case. Thanks for being early. Just a reminder, on September 12th, I sent out an email with a lot of this information. So if you didn't get that email or you deleted it, let me know and I will send it to you again, but it has a lot of this information. I kind of want to do a quick review with 3 questions I got after I sent out that information. One question was, am I dumb, or has there really not been that much change with the ParaPro assessment? And initially that would have been wrong, but over the course of the summer, ETS changed their approach to going fully remote. So just a review, and this information is in that email. The 2 choices that an LEA has, if they choose to continue to provide the ParaPro assessment offered by ETS, is to send the paraprofessional to one of 2 or 3 Prometric centers in Utah, which is tough for our rural LEAs. And one thing we wrote to ETS about, and I think one thing that swayed their changes. Also, they can take it at home. And they actually came up with a 3rd option, which is they could take it at the testing center at your school or your LEA, and they would just have to meet the requirements of the home remote test, which are quite stringent. So if you have a big testing center like Granite School District has, you would only be able to have 1 person in there taking the ParaPro assessment. Okay, so that was the first one of the questions I received. The second question I received is, can we reach out right now to one of these 2 new assessment providers and get started on this? And I said, with Master Teacher, with the ParaEducator, which we're going to hear about today, yes, go ahead. They're staffed for it. They're waiting for people and they're ready. But for the Project Para out of Nebraska, they have a staff of like 1.5. They offer it for free. And so I really wanted everyone to wait until that training was presented in October. And I included a link to that Zoom meeting in that September 12th email that I sent out. So again, if you didn't receive that information, email me or message me in the chat and I will send that to you. The 3rd question I received was, is there one of the 3 assessments that I personally prefer? And I said, I can't answer that question because at the state level, we really have no contact with these assessments other than to get them approved by our board. And so I'm the worst person to ask about that. What I do hope to do is kind of have maybe some breakout rooms where we can talk about the pros and cons in our next meeting in November. So those were my answers to those 3 questions. I hope they're representative of some of the questions that might have come up for you. Before I turn the time over to Corey and to Andrew, are there any general questions, not technical questions, about the assessments that the board approved to determine the highly qualified status of paraprofessionals? Okay, Max, if you go to the next slide, I do have Andrew's name on here. Andrew is the customer success manager at Master Teacher. I don't have Corey's name on here because I thought Brianna was going to present. So Corey, I apologize. Corey, when we contacted Master Teacher clear back a year ago, when we started having this conversation, Corey was very willing to provide all the information, answer my questions. help me understand the difference between a one-time purchase of an assessment versus a license, a yearly license. And so those are things that I'm sure you two will go over as well. Is Brianna here? Am I just not seeing her?
Val, this is Corey. Brianna, we actually just recently had some changes. So Brianna has stepped away. And so joining us today, and I'll introduce them when you're ready, but Brianna is no longer here, and we'll put up the contact information in the end as well.
Excellent. Well, with that, Corey, we got one question I'll answer before I turn the time back over to you.
Okay.
Carrie asked, is the cost of the ParaPro test the same? It was around it was $55. All of their tests are now $85. So whether you take it at the center, whether you take it at home, or whether you take it at the testing center and pretend like you're home, it's $85. And if I understand right, it's going to cost another $85 if that para does not pass it the first time with a score of 460 or higher. And this is where the other two assessments, I think, might be beneficial to LEAs that don't have a lot of Title I funding to spend on these assessments. Because I believe both of them are offered, the retakes are offered for free, and you both can correct me if I'm wrong. So with that, I'll just turn the time over to both Corey and Andrew.
Thank you.
Just bear with us. Sorry, Corey.
Yes, sir.
We might have to do some technical juggling here if you want to share your screen. We couldn't have you be the co-host before you showed up here in the meeting. So
Yeah, we will want to share our screen. It'll probably be Andy. So while you're doing that, I'll just kind of do some introductions and visit before, and then you just let us know, Max, when that's okay, if that's okay. So
I just made it so anybody can share. So
oh, wonderful. Okay, awesome.
don't everybody share. Just
all right. It looks like Andrew is going to share his screen. Well, I first off just want to introduce myself and my team here. But first start off by thanking Val and her team for giving us the opportunity. Really appreciate her and the work that her and her team has put in to really just allow us to share our program and our assessments with you all. I know it's kind of been quite a process, so we definitely appreciate it. Kind of today, we'll kind of keep it somewhat brief on our end, and just know that we can do this at an individual level and walk you through the program individually if needed. We do that all the time through Zooms and things like that. So my name's Corey Cottom. Been with the master teacher about 7 years. Joining me is Andrew McAlee and Jack Gagnon, and Andy's our customer success manager. He's currently going to probably do the driving today. He's in charge of our support team. So when you call to get the assessment set up and those things, you'll work really hand in hand with him, along with Jack Gagnon. He's our IT director, and for now he's kind of our Utah interim sales consultant. So he's been with the company more than any of us, so he kind of knows all the ins and outs of the system. In fact, he kind of helped build it. So anyways, I just wanted to say thank you all so much. And just kind of what I want to mention before we walk through the program is the program is not just for Title I. And like when Val and I visited back, it's probably been a little over a year, and Andy will really touch base on this, but the program is really for training your staff throughout the year. So if you're looking for training for both special ed and general ed Title I staff, this program has courses for all of it, including all the Title I assessments to highly qualify your staff. There's no additional cost whether you retake the test and all those types of things. And each one of you will be able to do the assessments or set up the assessments at your building if as long as you have a proctor there that would be willing to do that. So without further ado, thank you so much. I'm going to kind of turn it over to Andy. He's going to walk through what it looks like from the user's end and what it looks like from the admin side as well. And then at the end, whatever questions you may have, we're certainly more than helpful or more than glad to help answer those questions. So thank you, Val, and take her away, Andy.
All right, thank you, Corey. As Corey said, my name's Andy McAlee. I'm the customer success manager here. And as you can see, we've got our contact information up here. If you want to jot that down, that'd be great. But you can call any of these numbers and anybody will be able to help you out. I'm going to go and show you just a quick breakdown of the assessments and kind of how they're laid out. So there are the two assessments. Assessment 1 is 30 questions, broken down into 3 different sections. We're covering instructional support in reading, writing, and math on assessment 1. Assessment 2 is much longer. It's 75 questions, broken into 7 sections. And this is over content knowledge in reading, writing, and math. As Val said, we don't have a limit on attempts for taking the post test. So if they need to go back and take that, they certainly can. But one thing that our system has built into it is the prep courses that come along with it that are written specifically to help gain this knowledge and help them pass this Title I assessments. And I can kind of show you that here in just one moment. So this is our e-learning platform, which houses our ParaEducator online training. We suggest using Chrome, Firefox, or Safari if you're going to be using this platform. For some reason, Edge and Microsoft or Internet Explorer just don't do real well with online portals like ours. So if you use pretty much anything else, you'll be fine. We've made it extremely accessible for paraprofessionals to be able to get on to the actual platform. You can do the old-fashioned kind of username and password, which is, I imagine, will be the majority of the time is what your staff members will do. They'll receive an email from support@masterteacher.com. Click on accept invitation and set up their password. It's pretty easy on that side. If they don't want to go through the password route, they can actually use a passwordless login, where they simply click on that, enter the email that they're registered under, and they'll get an email with a code that they can use to log in. So either way, they can log in using either method. And I'll just go ahead and first I'm going to show you how things look whenever the paraprofessional first logs in. So when they first log in, they land on their dashboard. It's pretty straightforward. We didn't add in a whole lot of extra bells and whistles on this side, just so that everybody knows exactly what's kind of expected of them. They know where to go once they've logged in. So they've got the content library down here. And then once they start taking the courses, if they don't complete one, it will show up here in the continue content section. Kind of works like a Netflix screen and just lets them know these are courses that you've started, but you haven't completed yet. When you go into the content library, I have this one set up much like we would probably want to do for your paraprofessionals, is we have all of the prep courses marked as required. So they are highlighted and moved to the top of the list. There are 13 prep courses that are, again, written specifically for this assessment. And it's not required in order to take it that they pass these modules, but we do encourage them to at least go in and take a look. I will let you know that it seems the writing and the math section seems to trip up a lot of people. So we always kind of suggest taking a look at those first. Navigating these courses is very simple. There's a simple next and back button. Once they start a course, they can't get credit for it until they go all the way through to the end and take the post test. They are self-paced. Sorry about that. So if for some reason they need to leave, they can certainly do that. Along with those 13 prep courses, as Corey said, we have over 150 courses that they would also have access to, covering everything from first day on the job, bloodborne pathogens, kind of orientation type courses, as well as introductions to special education, confidentiality, those types of courses. And then we have more specific courses for working with students with different physical or learning exceptionalities, students with different behavioral issues, and students who've experienced trauma. And I can show you as you go up and just kind of look at the topic tree. We have quite a bit that we've covered here.
Andy, it looked like we had a question about
Mhm.
how long each course is. Typically anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour at the most is on average about each course. There'll be both either video courses or text-based courses, and they can take either one depending on how they prefer to get the material.
Yes, thank you, Corey. Now, once they do pass a course, they get a transcript that administrators are able to track, and I can show you that once we log in on that side. Now, once it's time for the paraprofessional to take their Title I assessments, they will need to take it in what we call a proctored environment, which means that someone will need to be there to ensure that they aren't using their notes, a calculator, their phone, or anyone else. It doesn't have to be just one person at a time. It can be large groups. That's actually how the system's set up to do it. But once that time comes, a code is set up for the assessment. So once they are ready, they click on the assessments. The proctor will give them the code. They will select, and I just picked Jack to be my proctor today. They'll select who their proctor is and then enter the code, and then they can log in and take the assessments. One thing I neglected to cover is there are practice assessments within this program that are formatted and function the same as our actual assessments, except they don't need the code to access them. And obviously they aren't going to be the exact questions. So it gives them a nice understanding of what they're going to see when they log in, how to navigate, and what sorts of questions are asked on that Title I assessment. A session does need to be set up for both Assessment 1 and Assessment 2. You can use the same code, but a separate session will have to be set up. Now, that's something that administrators will have the ability to do, but you can also contact us and we'd be able to help you set those up as well. We just basically need to know who the para is and who you are and the proctor and all that information. We take it and we'll be able to get that set up on our end in just a matter of minutes.
And you did have a question
Mhm.
come in here asking, are the courses up to date, meaning based on evidence-based practices?
So yes, they are. And you can actually see, if you would like, I can send you a list of our contributors and our references if you'd like.
And then just another quick question that came up. Yes, to answer the question about the assessments, they would need to take both assessments 1 and 2 to be highly qualified.
And it looks like the passing score was 65% on Assessment 1 and 70% on Assessment 2. As far as the paraprofessional side or the tester side of things, that's kind of how you navigate. It's pretty straightforward for them. Did you guys have any questions or anything from the para side that you want me to dive into a little deeper? They can actually take the assessments in 2 different sessions if they'd like. They don't have to sit for both at the same time. Now we do have built-in. Oh, sorry, I'm reading all of our questions as they're coming in. So we do have different pricing options. It just depends on how many staff members you're wanting to have in the system. I can kind of show you a breakdown. Corey, did we have any sort of special pricing? I didn't think we did. So this is the pricing breakdown by license. So 1 to 3 licenses is $89 a piece, and then it goes down from there. That's for access to the entire program for 1 calendar year for that person. They can take the assessments as many times as they need. And that does also give them the prep courses, the additional trainings, and access to those assessments. So yes, there is a breakdown, and I can kind of show you that of the assessments. Once they've taken it, if they do not pass, you can actually see what section or sections they would need to improve their score on. Brett, the cost for all staff, it still goes back to that pricing chart. So whether basically this is purchasing access to either the assessments and the prep work, or you can pick or choose, but it's still an upfront fee of whatever this is, just so you know. Oh, Corey's in there answering questions, so I guess I can move on. We do have help guides built in up here. They can access, as well as our contact information here at the support. So if there are questions or you need help getting people logged in, setting up accounts, that's something that we're here to assist you with, as well as doing any administrator or user walkthroughs. Depending on what your needs are, we'll be able to schedule those individually or as a group, whatever you guys would like to do on that front. There is not a additional cost for the assessments. So I'm going to go ahead and back out and show you guys from the administrator side how everything works. It's also pretty straightforward. You guys just have a lot more bells and whistles than the paraprofessionals usually do. So whenever an administrator logs in, they actually start off on the admin dashboard. This gives them a really nice snapshot of everything going on in their account. So they can see once they log in, they'll be able to narrow it down by different date ranges. This one's just showing us all time. But let's say I just want to look at this year. It actually shows me how many courses have been completed by the staff members and how many are currently in progress. You also have access to the reporting functions, where you will be able to track their overall progress, progress on any courses that you might mark required, or if it's those Title I assessment or Title I assessment prep courses, you would be able to use this to specifically track their progress in those courses. The transcript report is all completed courses, their passing score, and when they were started and completed. And then once the time comes to take the assessments, you'll actually be able to get that information once they get a passing score, or once they've completed the assessment, whether they've passed or failed, you'll be able to actually see, first off, whether they failed, what their score was, the number of attempts, and then you can also see what the actual score was on each section. So unfortunately, Sally did not do very good on this one, so she'll need to raise all 3 sections on that. Administrators also have access to their own list of courses, so they'll be able to see those. And then the reports are also available here on the admin dashboard. One thing that you guys also have is the settings gear up here. This is where you'll be able to edit your staff members' profiles, change passwords, things like that. Don't get too worried about administrators or staff members or anybody getting too in the weeds with this platform, because again, myself and our team are here to assist with any of that. So uploading your staff members, building the account, resetting things, all of that we can actually do on our end. We just need to get the information and we can kind of run with it from there. But administrators will have that access, so they'll be able to do all this if they want. And then when it comes time to actually set up the proctored sessions, it is here under the settings gear, and then under a proctored session here, you actually just click the new button, select the assessment you want to choose for them to take that day. Then they enter the proctor's information. Again, this is the person who's going to sign off that they actually, followed all the rules, took the assessment themselves. So you'll want to put that person's information here, their job title and email. They're all required fields, so you'll need to enter all of those. And then the date and time that you want the session to be open and when you want it to close. They can only be open for 24 hours. So if someone needs to come back another day, we just need to set up another session. And as you can see, the codes are set up over here. So that's the code that the para will want to enter. And if you want to actually send that to the proctor, there you go, Jack. And it'll actually send an email over to them with that code. So you can share that with them right through the system.
Sorry, Andy, I'm trying to
Yeah,
answer
I'm reading
questions.
questions.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
So they will need to take the Title I assessments. They can take the additional special education courses or assessments if they'd like, but in order to meet that qualification, they'll need to take those specific assessments. Again, we do have the built-in help guides as well as contact information. For administrators, we also have on the admin dashboard the ability for live chat. It'll actually pop up right here. It's also on the help guides and the login screen. So they can actually live chat. Oh, there's Robin right there. So you can actually chat with one of our support team members and get assistance with your account if you have any questions or anything like that. We'll be able to take care of that for you. Did you guys have any questions? I didn't want to get too in the weeds with things. I want to kind of focus on the assessments, but if you guys do have other questions or want to schedule a more in-depth walkthrough, just let us know. Do you guys have any questions on the administrative side of things? Yes, Carrie, that is correct.
Hey, Andy, earlier the question came up and I know Jack linked it, but do you want to go, it was about can you show us a list of all the courses and topics, et cetera?
Mhm.
Maybe if you want to go to our web and bring up the detailed course list there, and then I know Jack linked it as well. So included in the program, along with the assessments to highly qualify your staff, all of these, there's about 158 total courses. It includes, so like I mentioned earlier, and Andy touched base on, both general ed and special ed courses, ranging from first day on the job to if you have early childhood, also transitioning, various multiple different types of courses on depending on what specific maybe disability the students have, along with several courses on behavior, mental health, et cetera. So you would get, with one license, you would get, or that staff member would get access to all of these courses, including the assessments, as well as an admin license, for one full calendar year. So if that staff member started today, they would get access through the end of next September. And the one thing I'll kind of point out and add, probably one of the main things that separates our platform from maybe some of the others, which they're all great resources. And so I certainly don't want to downplay the others, but probably the thing that separates us is our support from our staff. We're here from 7 a.m. Central to 6 p.m. You will always get a live voice. And the second thing is, if your staff member does not pass the assessment, I think Val touched base on this earlier on some of the other ones, you have to pay to retake that assessment again, $85. So with ours, the more licenses that you purchase, certainly the cost goes down, and they can take it multiple times. And then you also get access to all of these courses. So if you're looking for maybe trainings that maybe you're trying to provide for your staff throughout the year, once you get them highly qualified, you could certainly have them take these self-paced courses whenever you have those specific training days, if that's a need for you as well. So I just kind of wanted to step in and make sure we clarify that, because this questions came up a couple times. So
Thank you.
Could I also interject one thing? I just got a question, and I think many people might have this question, just because the ParaEducator and also University of Nebraska has special ed support courses, doesn't mean that the paraprofessional that you want to demonstrate their highly qualified status needs to also pass the special ed courses. That would just be
correct.
You at your LEA could say, hey, we need somebody, or you might not have this background and we would love for you to have this information. And so we would like you to take these courses. It just gives you more options.
Correct.
The other thing, Corey, this stuck in my mind from a year ago, is that many of our LEAs are struggling to find paras. And so when they find someone, they want to get them highly qualified as soon as possible if they don't come with that associate degree or 48 semester hours. Remember, they don't, not all your paras are going to have to take these tests. But they just, let's see. Oh, your suggestion was if they're in a rush, or if this person seems to have a lot of background knowledge, they could just take the tests.
Yes.
And then go back to the courses afterwards to fill in any holes. And like Andrew, you pointed out, writing and math might be the two courses that they really focus on.
Correct.
So I just wanted to interject that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Val. And Art, if you came and asked me what, I think Val and I had this exact discussion now that I'm replaying in my head our discussion. If you asked us what I would say, what our process or recommendation would be, I know Val and I discussed this. If you had somebody new that you thought might be a great potential candidate and you wanted to test them, and or maybe they wanted to test or wasn't sure if they would pass the test, our recommendation usually what we would recommend is have them take the practice tests first, both assessment 1 and assessment 2. It's very, very similar, the same amount of questions, etc. Format, everything is, the format's the same, obviously different questions. Have them take the practice tests first. It'll score it out, both reading, writing, and math on both assessments. And from there, that's when you can determine, do I need to take some of these additional courses for support? So if they pass the the practice test with flying colors above a 70 and above a 65 on the other assessment, they're not going to have any issues with the actual assessment. So first thing I would have them do is do the practice test, see where they stand on it, and it breaks down what they scored on each section. So if they may not have scored as well on math, then you could have them go back and take those other assessments. And no, there was a question about, do they pay to take the practice test? Once you purchase a license, that's all you pay for everything for the entire year. There's no additional cost. You get the practice test, you get the 13 courses to help prepare for the assessments. If you need them, they're not a requirement. And then the other 135 additional courses to take if you choose to. There's not any requirements to take anything extra other than the assessments. Yeah, thank you, Val, for your heads up on that too. So the CLEP out of the course tool. Carrie, I'm not sure what that means. Andy?
I'm not
Jack?
sure, but it looks like Val knows.
Okay.
It might just be a Utah term. I don't
Maybe
know where
so.
it comes from. It's like CLEP out of a course means you just take the test and you don't have to actually go through the hoops of taking the course.
Yeah, it's
You
a good
can-
thing.
Okay.
I haven't heard that.
No, I've never heard of it either. Okay, just so you all aware, I probably should have said this from the beginning. We're out in the middle of the country. We're here in Kansas. Every one of us all work out of Manhattan, Kansas. So I've never heard that. Short answer is, if you pass the assessments, you don't have to do anything with the courses. So if that makes sense, then yes, you can skip, you can CLEP out of the courses.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Thank you.
You just spread that to Kansas.
Now I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna remember that term. In fact, I wrote it down. So Andy, you maybe want to put up the contact information
Yeah,
again.
absolutely.
And then Val, I wasn't sure if this is what you wanted, if this is exactly kind of how you wanted everything to go. I'll just probably conclude and point out that this was just kind of a high level overview about the program and platform. So if anybody individually would like to take a deeper dive into the weeds, and one thing we also do, we do one-on-one individual walkthroughs, but we also offer trial and demo accounts. So if any of you want to check out the content, I know that was a question earlier. We usually do 2-week free trials, even for any administrator. If they want to go in and preview the content, we are certainly glad to do that as well. So I want to make sure that, that's what we are as a content company. That's what we've kind of started out about 54 years ago. We provide professional development and training. So we are very proud of our content. So if any of you would like to check any of that out, that's what we're here for as well. So.
Well, I think that's a great opportunity for anybody who wants it. And that slide right there, somebody asked for those contact information. So if you could just email that to me, and then I will provide, we can include that in the slides that we send out to everybody. So you have that information.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's possible, Andy, if you can attach it to the chat. I don't know if that's, if not, that's okay. We'll send it to you, Val, also.
Yeah, I'll send that, and or I might have Corey send that over, and then maybe a detailed course list in that assessment information, just so they have that moving forward.
And there's no wait period, as Val said. If you need to get your staff going, typically what we do is do a one-on-one admin walkthrough to show how really deeper dive, make sure we get all your questions answered. And then we just have a simple spreadsheet to get whatever staff you need set up. And essentially you could test tomorrow if you could send it to us today. We're pretty fast like that. So.
Well, thank you so much. This was excellent. And We actually had scheduled a half an hour for them to present about the ParaEducator assessment and resources, and then another 15 minutes for questions. So if you all still have questions, please don't hesitate to ask, or if you want to go back to one part of the website, you didn't quite catch what was being shown there, this is the time to do that.
Absolutely.
Feel free just to unmute and ask too, if that's okay. It
Yeah.
doesn't bother us at all, so.
It actually would be great for the recording because not everybody can be here.
Corey, do you want to take that one?
Is the license, the question came up, is the license fee $85 per person for access to all? Yes, the answer is yes, depending on your quantity. One person is $89 and then it's, I believe, 4 to 11. And I think Andy's gonna put it back up there, the
Yeah.
actual pricing. But yes, it's for all the assessments and all content, practice tests, everything. So yes, everything that, and our support team, all of that. We don't, once you purchase the license, there's the cost, the $89. You get everything. There's not, we're not gonna $85 you to death, I guess, for lack of better words.
And
Hey,
just to
if
make
we'll-
sure everybody saw Darlene's question, because, Logan School District is bigger than in a charter LEA. So Logan could say on average, we have 20 paraprofessionals taking this test. So we're going to buy 20 user licenses for
Yep.
$59. So they're saving $30 on every test.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
And then if, let's say they come back and they need an additional 5, they don't go back up the chart. They would stay in that range as they go. So they don't need to worry about, oh gosh, maybe we should get a few more just in case. You can add on as the year goes at the same price range.
And for those that, there was a question that came up earlier, since it's being recorded, they might not see this. The question came up that said, is there a wait period before a para can retake the assessments? Should they fail the first time? There's not a wait period. They could essentially take it, get a new code and take it again right away if they want to. I don't know if we touched base on it because maybe they did. I was answering questions, but they're not timed. Sometimes we get asked that question. The assessments are not timed. We actually have like a form, et cetera, in like the for the proctors. There's obviously special things that you can and can't do, but really it's pretty basic. You just need to identify, is that the right person that's taking the assessments? The person taking the assessments can only use scratch paper. They can't use calculators. Once they start assessment 1, they have to go all the way through and finish it before they stop and take a break. All of those things for validity purposes. Yeah. And we can, whenever you decide, if you decide to move forward, we will send those out. That's kind of what Andy does as part of the customer success. He makes sure the proctors and everything understands the process. There's also an acknowledgement form once the staff member passes that we send to the proctor, both proctor and the person taking the assessment sign. It has their scores and everything on it too. So it's a really simple process once you do it once. It's kind of, we do it consistently every single day. So we kind of have it down to a science too. So.
Corey or Andrew, you mentioned that there's a certificate once a course is passed.
Mhm.
What about documentation for for the 2 passing scores?
Yes. So we do have, and this is just an example, this is just what it looks like. And we're actually going to be making some changes to it shortly just to freshen it up a little bit. But there's the assessment acknowledgement form that is signed by both the proctor and the paraprofessional with the passing score and date that it was completed on. And that functions as a certificate for that specific certification.
There are lots of questions that are rolling through here.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up to them. Okay.
Yeah, if we read
So-
it out loud and then answer it out
Yeah.
loud so that the recording will capture that.
So if we have unused licenses, can we carry over to the next year? Unfortunately, no, they do not carry over from year to year. So if they aren't used, they would expire at the end of that subscription time. As far as, so when they get a new code, does that mean we pay for another license to retake the assessment? No. So within that subscription year, however many licenses you guys have, they have unlimited attempts to the assessment tests, to get in access to the courses. They can retake those courses as many times as they want. There are no additional fees for that. The next one, if we are a smaller charter, can we group with our sister charter schools for licenses and administration? Yes, you could. Like if you guys want to go kind of create, we could kind of create the account together. And kind of the nice thing about our system is we could kind of put you into a group account, but we can separate those out. So you're kind of within your own little bubble. So that way one school isn't seeing results and accessing information for another school. So we can build that out to kind of separate that those two schools from each other. So that way you could kind of partner up and get a better quantity discount on those licenses.
And you all don't have to test on the same day either. So Jack
Correct.
could test today and Andy could test tomorrow. It really doesn't make any difference from that regard at all. So we have places that sometimes test 3 or 4 or 5 times a week. It's okay. It's any time that whenever you want to have the assessments available.
And then I have a question that was sent to me that I'm not sure how to answer. Is there a possibility for this assessment to be taken in someone's home, not on the LEA location? If so, what does proctoring look like?
Sorry, go ahead, Corey.
I was just gonna let Jack handle that one.
Yeah, so at the moment, no, we aren't quite set up for the kind of remote testing. That is something that we are kind of currently looking into, kind of partnering with a kind of proctoring company, but still trying to work out everything with that. But for now, I mean, they could go basically kind of to any location that you guys would want, just as long as somebody is there to actually supervise them while they are taking that test. One, confirm, yes, that is who is supposed to be taking the test. No, they are not using notes, calculators, cell phones, not looking up answers. Or like Corey said, if you could test as many people at one time as you want. So if you have, kind of a big computer lab, you could have, 20 people in there testing at a time. But that proctor would need to be there, just kind of ensuring that, they aren't kind of talking, comparing like, hey, what'd you get for this answer? What'd you get for the, just make sure that they are working on it on their own.
Anybody can at the school or district or building level or at your LEA can be a proctor. Like we just need to know who that person is, what their title and role is. And like I said, we have a list of not a ton. It's not like it's super cumbersome, but we just need to make sure for validity purposes that kind of all the I's and T's were crossed there.
We still have some time if anybody wants to ask. Oh, we got another question, although this might just, never mind. I'm not
Val,
very
you
good
mu-
at
you must
screening
have
my
got- you
direct
must have got the
messages from.
question. Yeah.
Oh,
I think I screwed up earlier too. I had a couple directly to me, and I think I'm answering them to the group, and then I'm actually only sending them at the one person. So if I just sent you like random messages, I apologize because I might have screwed that up earlier.
Well, it sounds like your staff is large enough to handle questions after this, so people can reach out for, you know, if they're interested in that kind of trial, 2-week trial period.
Yes, absolutely. Please do.
And then Robin had a question here. What platforms does this work on? It works best on Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, or Safari. It can work on Microsoft Edge or Internet Explorer, but both of those just aren't quite powerful enough to always handle everything. So sometimes things will kind of get glitchy or the questions don't show up. It's very weird. Like I said, Edge and Internet Explorer just kind of underpowered. So preferred Chrome, Firefox, or Safari.
It will work on a Chromebook using Google Chrome. Yes.
You can update that cache district testing center finally, Robin. All right. I so appreciate you all. Thank you, Andrew, for presenting. Thank you, Corey, for being here for the last year. And Jack, thank you for doing double duty as IT and also the Utah connection.
Absolutely.
One real quick, there was one, I think it was a direct message to me. It says, can you please share your phone numbers again? So Andy, since you have access, we'll share that one more time.
And then again, we'll send this list out to everyone. Maybe not as fast as you want it.
So Val, when we get done, what well, you're going to still meet. That's awesome. I will send out our contact information to you along with some additional information on the Title I testing information, along with a detailed course list with all courses in the system. So for those of the staff that had questions, in addition to the title questions, they'll have a list of all those courses as well. I'll send that to you as well, or one of us for sure will when we're done. So
Great. Thank you all so
Yeah.
much.
yeah, thank you for having
us.
us. It was awesome opportunity and appreciate all your work behind the scenes on it too. So
Absolutely.